thanks for checking in to this newest version of That Darn Dentist. Some people are calling this new set and everything That Darn Dentist 2.0. Some people are calling the old version That Darn Dentist Classic. But most people, let's be honest, most people are not calling it anything at all. Most people aren't aware. I only have 125 subscribers at this point. So, but this is, and everything's pretty cool. This is a little weird, I know, but I'm still working on what kind of microphone to get. And this sounds pretty good, I hope. If you hear some background sound, it's because I have there's a guy pressure cleaning downstairs. He's pressure cleaning my kitchen. So, there's a mall not too far from here. I can walk to it. It's a quarter mile maybe. And it's a beautiful mall. It's called the Valencia Town Center Mall. And they have a koi pond there. You know what koi are, right? Those fish, those Japanese fish. I think they're of Japanese origin because you see them in Japanese restaurants all the time. Anyway, they have a beautiful koi pond over there. And sometimes I just go to sit and look at the fish and contemplate and meditate. And there's turtles in there too, which I enjoy seeing. They swim around, they frolic. But the koi are and kind of an ugly fish. I don't mean to be unkind, but I don't find koi to be attractive at all, me personally. But I like to look at them. I like to watch them swim around. And so, and then I noticed there was a plaque on the retainer wall that had some information about koi. So I started reading it. And it said a few things on there. It said, one of the things it said is, don't read it. I don't want you to, I'll tell you what it says. I just wanted to show it to you. Okay, go ahead, read it. One of the things it said on there is it says the average koi lives to be 25 years old. And I thought, well, that's interesting. That's good information to know if I'm ever on Jeopardy or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I might win a lot of money from having known that. So I committed that to memory. And then I read on further down, and it said the reported oldest known fish that ever lived was a fish named Hanoko. Hanoko. I don't really not sure how to pronounce it. I'm a little rusty on my Japanese fish names. But so we'll say Hanoko. And I don't know if it was a boy or a girl or a man or a woman or a fish or a female or a male. Well, I'm going to call it a he for the purposes of... Anyway, so they said that this fish, Hanoko, lived to be 217 years old. And I thought, wow, oh boy, that's a lot. That's old compared to the 20. Hanoko must have really taken good care of himself and eaten right and exercised daily and, had regular checkups and all that stuff. And that's what I was thinking at first. Then I thought further about it, and I thought, wait a second, well, how would we know that? How could we possibly know? How would anybody know that the fish lived for 217 years? They're trying to tell me or us, they're trying to tell us that a long, long time ago, let's say in the year 1746, that a fish was born, a little fish, a fishling, I guess they would call it, was born, or hatched, maybe hatched, because fishes are hatched. A little koi, a koilet was hatched there in Japan, and a guy was standing there and noticed it being born and said, check out that fish. What's today's date? He asked his buddy. He said, what's today's date? And the guy said, well, it's August 19th, 1746. And he says, well, I know what year it is. Okay. But he said, mark it down. Mark down the date. Mark down the date because I got a feeling about that fish. That fish, I don't know, there's something about him. And I just want to mark down the date and keep an eye on him. So they did. They kept an eye on the fish. They just kept watching him for years. Years went by and years turned into decades and generations came and went, and they just kept watching this fish, Hanoko. And Hanoko just kept thriving and growing. And then I'd say this probably happened, say, I don't know, in the year 18, we'll go 100 years, 1872 or something like that. There was an older Japanese a nobleman who was a wealthy man who was dying. He was on his deathbed. And he called in his eldest son. And he said, my son, there's something I want to give you, something very important that I want to give you. No, it's not the deed to the estate. No, your sister has asked for the estate. She's going to get that. And no, it's not the samurai sword that I used in the battle for Kyoto. Your brother has asked for that. You're getting, you know that fish? You know the big fish that's out in the pond? The big fish? Yeah, Honoko. Honoko. Is that how you say it? Honoko, you're going to get the fish, the big fish. And it's going to be your job and your responsibility to watch Honoko and keep track of them and nurture them and feed them. And if it looks like Honoko is going to survive you, if it looks like you're going to die before Honoko, what you need to do is fill out a will and bequeath that fish to your eldest son or eldest child. But if the fish dies while you're still alive, what you need to do is you need to take this form. This is a fish death certificate, as you can see there, the fish death certificate. And it has the fish name, Honoko, and here it already has the date of hatching, DOH, August 19th, 1746. You will put the date of death on there. And then what you need to do, and get it notarized, signed and notarized and send it to the Ministry of Fish Records. And then also what you want to do, you want to calculate the age of the fish at its death and see how many years it lived and months and days and all that stuff. And then check it with the international fish death records that are out there. And if it turns out that our fish, if Honoko has lived longer than any other fish in history, what you need to do is send that information to the people at the Valencia Town Center Mall so they can put it on their plaque. Well, thanks for coming. I hope you'll subscribe and say hello down below and like or thumbs up or whatever it is. Thanks. See you next time.